On this AV Nation special, we'll talk with Kramer about continuing AV education, certifications, and the new international Kramer Academy. All that and more next on this AV Nation special.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
This is AV.
This
is AV Nation.
This is AV Nation.
This is an AV Nation special. Kramer's International Education. This is an AV Nation special. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. About 2 years ago, we talked with Kramer Electronics about their online academy. 2 weeks ago, Kramer released their online academy to the international community, providing various languages around the world. We're going to talk with someone from Kramer about that and how folks can get connected. Before we start, though, Kramer is an underwriter of AV Nation. They provide financial support for our network. So with us to talk about Kramer Electronics and their new international version of the online academy, Gary Jesper from Kramer. Welcome, sir.
Hi, welcome, Tim. Good morning. Thank you for having me over.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. Thank you. So Kramer Academy has been available in certain parts of the world for the last 2 years. You guys, though,
Correct.
recently laid it out and made it available to the international community. And we'll talk about that, why that's important in a second.
Right.
But first, we want to get into just kind of the nuts and bolts of continuing education as an AV professional. Why is that
Right.
important? Why is continuing education important for folks that are in kind of the technological and the electronics fields?
So in our field, it's not just a technology that is evolving and requiring additional knowledge and skills. Our jobs in the field are evolving too. So in terms of our work domains, as Avixa defines them, for instance, our methodologies are starting to change as well. It's not just a matter of designing an AV deployment. It's about managing it. It's about connecting that to network TV, AV over IT, and therefore the knowledge here is really increasing. In addition, the discourse, which started including terms such as networks, security, and so on, that discourse is changing as well, which requires people to learn kind of like a new language of IT. So Kramer Academy was built to serve everyone in the industry in terms of those knowledge needs. We have tailor-made courses for everyone, whether it's an AV systems integrator or a consultant who need a deeper understanding of the IT aspects of AV, or whether you are an IT professional who need to understand how to start deploying and managing the AV streaming in your organization.
Well, that's actually, you bring up a really good point about the evolution of the audiovisual industry. I mean, obviously, 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, there were
Right.
not a whole lot of IP and IT connectivity. Now, almost every device has.
Correct.
How do you guys
Right.
keep up with that? How do you keep up with the evolution? Do you go back every 6 months or a year and start reassessing your courses and go, okay, on this one, we need to add this or that, the other?
Right. So first of all, to understand what really this, knowledge evolvement means, people usually acquire professional knowledge today in one of two purposes. The first is maintaining professional knowledge to keep up to date with changes, or in other words, staying in the game. The second is gaining knowledge that allows transforming into new roles, which extend one's career path and eventually the ability to expand your business skills and opportunities. So once we understand, what stands behind training today, or what behind you mostly online learning, then we can understand that our training programs known as Kramer Academy, they provide a strong platform and extremely easy environment for AV and IT professionals to enhance their knowledge for either of those purposes. So people basically are invited to join the platform and either take one course or one module or an entire certification whenever they wish for that, in order to increase their knowledge, again, for one of those two aforementioned purposes.
Yeah. You mentioned that there are, you mentioned Avixa there. There are several areas where folks can get education, continuing education, as well as baseline. What can manufacturers do, obviously, to help those continuing education efforts? Stuff like having an online academy, things like having in-person courses, whether that's at shows like ISC, which is coming up in February, or InfoComm.
Right, right, Focom. So, we in Kramer believe that it is not sufficient to be a technological, innovative leader. You also have to be an educational leader in order to serve the industry. It is our commitment to educate the field, and frankly, it's in our DNA. See, Dr. Joseph Kramer, the founder, president, and CEO of the company, has been a keynote speaker in conferences and trade shows for dozens of years now. And therefore, what we did as a manufacturer, after the positive feedback we were getting for our global training, we started establishing something much more institutionalized. So we got a decision a few years ago to establish an innovative online training program. And what we started doing was researching not what was us as manufacturers would actually like to teach, rather what the field is really missing. So this user-centered approach led us to reveal some important insights, which will explain, what we are offering and why, before we go into, how and where.
Yuri, you mentioned you asked what the field was missing. Two parts of this question. First of all, how did you get that information? Yeah,
Right.
and then what did you guys do with it once you got the information from the integrators and the AV professionals?
So what we did in order to collect this information was to send online surveys to our customers who have participated in training of ours in the past, or alternatively, when meeting customers face to face in our global training venues, in our executive briefing centers, we asked them, what would you like to learn about? What are you missing today? That was one thing. That was one question we had, again, both online and face to face, which gave us a lot of insights. I will share in a moment. And the other was actually engaging some pilot training, such as AV over IP professionals, for our staff and for select distributors and partners. And after doing that, we were analyzing, how much has this training actually added to your competence? What has it how has this leveraged your skills, and so on. And the feedback we got and we analyzed later on led us to some very important insights. The first is that product-specific certifications are still highly required since they guarantee a successful installation for a systems integrator and a well-planned project design for a consultant. The second insight was that in the convergence from AV to IT, for example, AV professionals are in a great need to enhance their skills by learning new terms and configurations. I'll give some examples later on. And on the other end, the IT professionals are sometimes missing a bit of the AV basics or some of the terms in AV that they need to understand in order to better support AV deployments. And last but not least, the industry recognized certifications really matter for everyone, the end user or customer, consultants, system integrators, whether it's a Kramer specific certification or an Avixa accredited certification. These certifications are extremely, required, and then there's a high demand for them. So the Kramer Academy, sorry. So Kramer Academy was really structured to address these challenges.
All right, very good. Kramer has these interactive elements as part of their online
Right.
education. How does that help when it comes to the learning process and getting people to retain what you guys are showing them?
Well, Tim, learning today is not about ancient theory anymore. It requires mainly practical knowledge that engages the learner's attention. If a customer completes a course and doesn't remember half of it, or alternatively did not gain the actual skills he needs and he was looking for when choosing the course, then he or she just wasted quite a good few hours of their time. So we created what we call a hands-online experience to tackle the learning challenges and professional needs of the industry. This includes interactive simulations of a standard IP switch and a Kramer KDS encoder and decoder. These simulators, for instance, allow our partners to learn in a safe environment with no need for an investment in expensive, AV or IT gear or risking an existing network configuration. So what people will be doing is practice in our simulators with a virtual instructor, which guides them step by step through what used to be complex tasks for an AV person, such as setting up jumbo frames and IGMP snooping to enable AV over IP streaming. These, again, were some of the insights we had from the research, where you're saying that, it's not enough telling an AV person he needs to configure the IT switch for AV over IP streaming. It's much better to give him both a focused guidance on what exactly he needs to do, and not just try to navigate his way through the webpage of the Cisco switch or Netgear or anything else. Yeah, so one of the conclusions we had again was, one of these challenges for the AV people to be able to set up an IT switch for AV over IP streaming. And if you just give them a manual or show them all these kind of videos and talk to them about DNS and IGP snooping, they might get lost. And that's why we gave them a focused training, step by step, which really takes them exactly through the steps they need on the web page of a certain switch. And we also created an interactive audio specialist course where we added unique audio samples which were processed in our DSP. And these allow the learners to listen to audio signals before and after they get processed in a DSP. The outcome of this learning experience is a deep, true understanding of audio. So we're not just asking you, multiple choice questions, and you're not just seeing some theory of what audio is and how an audio signal works. You could actually hear the difference because you could listen to every single audio signal before and after it has gone through that processing. And that has significantly increased understanding of customers and consultants and partners in what audio exactly is and how to design and deploy Pro AV audio.
All right. Let's get into that nuts and bolts of it here. How do people get access to Kramer Academy? Do they sign up through their rep, or they just go online? How do they do that?
Kramer Academy was designed to allow easy access from anywhere in the world, whether by PC, mobile, tablet, or Mac. So it can be easily accessed at www.kramerav.com/training. You could simply log in or quickly register. After verifying your email address, simply click the Request Access button. Now, Kramer partners have full premium access to all our certifications. And in case someone is not currently a customer, he or she is invited to contact their local Kramer office and we will see what we could do for them.
All right. So you've also, as we talked about, released this internationally in the last two weeks. Part of that is expanding the languages that people can take the training through. Why was that important?
Right. So we realized, Tim, that language could be a serious barrier to knowledge. And again, as an industry leader in knowledge for Pro AV and IT, we wanted to ensure that we support as many customers as possible. So we invested in localizing our certifications to various languages, such as Spanish, French, German, Chinese, and Russian, which obviously don't only support a few countries, they could also support some regions in many cases. And therefore our training, depending on the local market and what is again usually requested for over there, whether it be more product specific such as Kramer control or something more wide such as AV over IP, that training can be localized, that training can be accessed online in the Kramer Academy, and the user could select his language, and he will be taken automatically to the same course in his language, which is, the whole course is translated with narration, the slides, the text, everything there is really in his language to really allow an easy onboarding for knowledge needs.
Oh, very good. We talked about Avixa earlier and the certifications that you guys are
Right.
certifying. Um, when it comes to Avixa or what other certifications, why are those sorts of industry credentials important not only to Kramer but also to the dealers?
So Avixa is definitely the standard today in our field. And therefore, we strongly encourage our staff and our customers to get Avixa CTS certified. We believe it gives them a better understanding of the field and allows them to better serve their customers later on and learn the methodologies and the content they need to know. And as part of that, and part of our cooperation with Avixa, all our certifications are Avixa approved, so they are accredited for various amounts of renewal units, also known as RUs. And this is important because today, I think in every field, you really need, or there's an expectation for you to have some sort of certification in that field, because in such an important field as AV, where the installations have to be, rock solid and everything has to be well designed, I think it's important for people to learn and then show that they have the ability to support their customers by building, designing the right solutions for them, and not just, by learning some stuff um, occasionally. And therefore, these certifications are extremely important. We have another cooperation with Audinate's Dante, where our audio specialist course I mentioned beforehand actually includes an audio over IP session, which we have co-created and co-branded with Audinate.
Hmm.
Because, let's face it, if you're talking audio over IP, you're basically saying Dante in most cases. So after taking our audio specialist course, we encourage customers to continue and take Audinate's level 1, level 2, and level 3 certifications in order to continue their audio over IP expertise. And this is part of that cooperation, which we think is very vital and really helps our partners and consultants in expanding their knowledge, because it's not just a matter of what Kramer thinks is important. Obviously, this is industry-wide acknowledged by Avixa and Audinate, which really allows people to get the knowledge they need in order to succeed with their current and future roles.
You mentioned the fact that you guys are supporting Avixa and with the RUs, and how important that is for folks to as they're evolving their
Right.
careers. Are you finding that regardless of where you are internationally? Again, is one of the whole points here is the fact that you guys have released this the Kramer Academy to the international audience.
Right.
You guys finding that those certifications, and it's whether it's Avixa or somebody else's, are becoming increasingly important regardless of where you are in the world, whether it's Asia Pac or the North America or the European market, the African or EMEA market?
Certainly. So as part of our cooperation with Avixa, we know that in specific regions such as North America, Avixa is very popular. In other regions, it is still emerging, and people are learning to understand what is Avixa and what is the importance of CTS. But I think that no doubt Avixa CTS certifications are becoming a worldwide standard, and whether it's this regular CTS or CTSI or CTSD, people everywhere around the world are starting to look for those, to ask for them, to try to get certified in various ways. We also get questions sometimes: how could I get certified for Avixa? And we try to encourage that again, because this is really something that should become a standard. The training they offer is very comprehensive, and it provides people, with the domains they need to know. And again, then when you come with and take a Kramer training, then you're getting a specific professional enhancement for whatever you have previously learned or whatever you might even still be missing.
You mentioned earlier that this is if you're not a Kramer customer, meaning you're not a dealer, you would direct people towards that. Is there a provision for folks who are in education or in the IT space or the Fortune 500 space to get Kramer training? Obviously, they can't become dealers because they're customers. So
Right.
what's the path for those folks?
Right. So today, if a end user, someone from the Fortune 500 or anyone else, is working with a partner that works with Kramer, he could ask through them to get knowledge, to get access to our training. We will allow that in order to encourage end users and customers to understand more about the industry and what they need to know when they're installing or requesting certain equipment. So they might not get the immediate direct access, but certainly if they contact their local distributor or consultant, and we work with that with those professionals, then we will be happy to provide additional training to those end users as well. By the way, it could also be face-to-face training in many instances where end users and a consultant come to get certified by Kramer and learn more about control or VIA or audio and so on.
Yeah, that's actually some of my very first introduction to Kramer was training that I had as an end user years ago.
And here you are today.
And here I
Look where it has brought you.
you are. So, all right, Uri, how do people get a hold of Kramer Academy, regardless of where they are in the world now?
So feel free to visit www.kramerav.com/training. You could have a contact us form down there, or you could just go ahead and try to register. You'll get the basic access, and if you want additional access, click request access, and we will be happy to support you. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us at academy@kramerav.com.
Very good. And Yuri, yes, but if somebody wants to get a hold of you specifically to ask any questions that I have not, how do they do that?
I will be happy to answer any questions at ujospe, UJOSPE, at KramerAV.com.
All right, thanks, Siri. For us, for Aviation, you can go by the website, aviation.tv. That's aviation.tv. You'll find programs like this and a host of others, including our 2 weekly programs. One is called AV Week, looks like the commercial side of AV, and Resi Week looks at the news from the residential side of the AV industry. Also, while you're there, check out our supporter section. These are the folks that help us financially, help us bring you Aviation Specials, AV Week, and all that. And Kramer is one of those, and we thank them for their support. All that and more at aviation.tv. Aviation